just a bloke in a bar.
What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar, previewing the round one of 2021 season. Now, I thought this would be a celebratory day here with Tom, arguably the better half of the Hello Sports podcast, arguably.
I'd agree with it, certainly.
Okay, so there's no argument here then?
No, I'd say there's no argument, but that's obviously a very biased opinion from myself.
You know what I hate is when people are like, I don't have a bias. Bro, we all have a bias.
Unwavering bias. That's what our whole show's about, that.
Based on bias.
Well, yeah, that's all it is. You got to own your bias, and if you own up to it, then you can basically justify anything you say.
Absolutely. You know, in comment sections, it's always basically like, I don't follow the Storm, so I'm not biased.
Oi, you're just a manly bloody, you're just obsessed with manly. It's like, yeah, exactly. Exactly why I'm picking him to win the comp.
And so I thought it would be a celebratory day because we have the great one half of Hello Sports on the podcast, but it's a somber day for a Queenslander.
Yep.
And for most rugby league fans. A bit of a happy day for New South Welshmen, deep down.
Look, there's an element. It's more like with Cam, obviously the great man, retiring. It's like a family dog that's died. It's like, don't be sad that it's dead. Be happy it was alive for a little bit. Let's go bury him down the back fence and just be like, that was nice. That was nice.
It was nice while we had him.
It was nice while we had him. Obviously, from a New South Wales standpoint, not so good.
Was that when he attacked people and you kind of nearly need to put him down?
Exactly. You almost had to put him down, and maybe there was a lawsuit pending. He bit someone on an ankle, and you're like, fuck. But, Dan, as he got older, he got sort of a little bit nicer and calmer.
From a Queenslander perspective, never bit a bloke in his life. And biting blokes is something that I know a lot about.
Well, yeah, post-career, much more.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And he would be the most loved dog in history. Like when when people post too much about their dog that they love.
Yeah.
That's what Queensland do with him.
Yeah, well, even the NRL. The NRL's posted about this dog. They probably set up their own special Instagram account for this dog. And, it's dog. Like trying to get this dog heaps of followers and shit. And you're like, relax on the dog spam.
But in all seriousness, Cameron Smith, what an incredible career. Like his last year especially exemplified. It doesn't matter how big, vast, and strong the players are getting. The thinkers are still the masters of this game.
Yeah.
He's 37 years old, looks like an accountant, and yet he was still in control of the last game he played, the grand final. He was the key reason why they won. They don't win it without Cam Smith.
Yeah.
Not even close. So his career is. I messaged, speaking to his manager, and I was genuinely like, bro, I'm actually upset. Like, I'm actually a bit hurt. Like, we're never going to see Cam Smith play NRL again.
It's a weird one, though, right? Like, he's left it the 24 hours before kickoff. And firstly, I do agree with what you're saying. He was an absolute freak, and almost how you didn't notice, like, for a layman, like almost not noticing the things he did. And you'd hear everyone talk about how amazing he was, and you obviously knew there were the obvious things he did, but the things you couldn't tell as just a day-to-day dribbler like myself. Yeah. But yeah, look, it's sad. I found the fact that it's gone 24 hours before the kickoff weird. Is that is that overshadowing the start of the season? If I'm just playing a devil's advocate here, or is it like, why would you wait until the last 24 hours?
Yeah, no, I get it. Because I even had Finchy on last week, and he was saying the same thing. Like, bro, what's doing?
What are you doing?
What I can say absolutely is I'm good mates with his manager, and we speak not regularly, but every now and then we'll just have a chat, and it might be about other things. It might be about Johnny Bateman coming on the podcast. But I spoke to him, it was only like 3 to 4 weeks ago, and I was speaking to him in the sense of saying to him, look, if there's any help I can do with him announcing the retirement, in the sense of like, if he needs me to film it for him, edit it for him, because he was stuck in a hard place of like, he understood the situation that was being created. Like he got it.
Right, he realised it was getting sort of getting out of control a little bit.
Absolutely. And so he's sitting there going, fuck, I don't know what to do. But at the same time, and this is 100% candor, his manager was going, he genuinely doesn't know whether he wants to keep playing or not. And if you just took selfishly the Cam of like being 100% selfish, I personally think he would have kept playing. They mentally and physically, absolutely still ready to go. He won Dally M hooker last year.
Yeah. And
I'm pretty sure he was top 10 in the Dally M rankings. The big reasons for his decisions, and this is coming from his management, is he absolutely said he will not stay at Melbourne Storm while if Storm lose Grant and Cheese. Now, Cheese or Grant, one of them might leave, but he didn't want anything to do with that. He wanted them both to stay.
Yeah.
That's how much he loved the club. On top of that, he didn't want to play the Melbourne Storm. He didn't want to play against the Melbourne Storm. and then I guess
I didn't know that. That's nothing I'd really seen in the narrative, right? About him not wanting to play against the Storm.
And that was kind of like one of the nails in the coffin. Like he didn't want to verse the Storm.
Right.
And then I guess the biggest overarching reason, and it's a shame that COVID happened the way it did, but he wants to spend more time with his family. You know, like you think about Cam Smith, he's been in the rep sides and played in finals for his whole career.
Yeah.
And pretty much gone to the grand final nearly every year. So think about how much time he spends away from his family.
Yeah.
And being a dad yourself, you would know.
Completely. I've been to 2 Bucks weekends the last 2 weeks, and every time I leave, I'm like, oh God, I feel bad. And I'm just going away for a 2-day bender, and I'm like, he's doing it sort of, every week he's going somewhere and traveling. So I can completely understand it from that standpoint. How many years has he been playing? Like 17, 18, 19?
18 years. 2002 till 2020, wins the premiership, has a huge hand in it.
Did he score a try?
He scores a try. Half time, they hit his hand. He regathers time. It's incredible. We'll never see it again.
No.
With the way the game's going, and how I guess how where they're Ferraris. You know what I mean? Like everyone's a Ferrari now.
Yes.
Like even Damien Cook, Ferrari.
Yes.
Harry Grant, big body.
Stocky Ferrari.
Stocky Ferrari. He's kind of like a Volkswagen with a bit of turbo.
Yeah.
Okay, I like that.
A souped up Volkswagen.
And so there's no one that's going to be able to do that again. Never.
Is he, and I mean, like everyone has the debate of the GOAT and all that sort of shit, and it's at the risk of getting into that.
Yeah.
Is he the greatest player of all time, or is he the most decorated? He's obviously the most decorated, but is he also the
greatest player? It's so tough. I think I have a bias towards Darren Lockyer. I mean, I have no bias.
No bias.
No bias.
But Darren Lockyer.
Darren Lockyer. He literally made my career, and then after he was gone, I didn't do anything.
He gave you that try.
Yeah, exactly. I think if I didn't have that bias, I would have to say that, put it this way, when you talk about Cameron Smith, he is the only player in the entire history of rugby league where in his position, he is undisputed GOAT. You can hate him, but he is the GOAT. Whereas Andrew Johns, who is also a GOAT, a lot of people are, I reckon Alfie Langer's a GOAT. Yeah. I reckon Cooper Cronk's a GOAT. I reckon Sterling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas Cameron Smith is the only player in the history of the game to say anyone that says that he's not the GOAT hooker, they're just kidding themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely. There's no debate. There's not even a fucking snippet of a debate.
Yeah.
And so I think that if I wasn't biased, which I'm not, but if I'm not biased, which I'm not.
In a world where you're not biased.
Yes. I think he's the GOAT.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
I think so.
That's fair. I like Lockyer for you. Like, obviously, I'm a Joey Johns shill, but I do love Darren Lockyer as well. He doesn't get enough credit.
No way.
He does not get enough credit.
Bro,
even in a world where he gets shitloads of credit, he doesn't get enough credit.
He arguably is one of the GOATs in 2 positions.
Exactly.
Fullback, and I actually think he's the greatest fullback of all time as well.
Really?
But I'm not biased.
Really? No, not at all.
No, but I'm just saying.
Well, I'd actually go so far as to say Dylan Walker playing this weekend for Manly might be the greatest fullback of all time.
No, I'm not disrespecting Walker. It was just
no, that's cool. That's cool. I'm biased.
But you know what is funny in the like the day and age of media and everything now is that like if you rap a player or if you think he's your GOAT, you say things like, I'm a shill for him.
Yes.
It's like, you can't just be like, no, he's my GOAT.
It's just my opinion.
It's my opinion. No, I'm a shill.
Yeah, no, I'm just a complete Joey John shill.
Like, yeah, absolutely.
He does no wrong.
So yeah, Cameron Smith, I think that if you've got sons or daughters and you want to use someone as example of, you don't have to be the biggest, strongest, fastest, whatever. If it's got it between the ears and you work hard, you can be fucking literally anything you want.
I'd like to know whether he has any ailments. Like, in the fact that, they're like, players come out of their career and it's like, oh, my knee's fucked, my back's fucked. Does he have anything that he's incurred any injuries over his career? Or is he just kind of like, I think I'm actually pretty good?
He's the most durable player of all time.
Yeah.
Easily. That's the thing. You never see his shoulders in that strapped. Whereas like, Thurston was literally strapped together. He fell apart when he retired.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, they had to put him back together.
He went into the operation room and they sewed him back on. He's like those dolls that with the fucking sewing and shit in the corners.
Oh, yeah. So how many games did Cam end up with? Was it
420 or some shit like 450, I think, or 445. It's over 400.
Yeah. I've put you on the spot.
Okay, yeah, you really did hurt me with that one.
You didn't have that ready. Jesus Christ.
Apologies.
Operation you're running here.
But I mean, he's got. I wish I had. Just give me a list, NRL.com. Just give me a bloody list here. So highest capped player in rugby league history. 430 NRL games, 42 State of Origins, 56 tests for Australia.
Jesus.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, that is.
He made his debut as a halfback as well. That's really weird.
Really?
Is he the greatest halfback of all time?
He might be. Best of all time in 3 positions.
Yeah. You can't put into words. You know, like what words could we say that could encapsulate what he has achieved?
There aren't any. And I actually, when you see, again, from a complete layman dribbler who's never really, achieved much, with the greatest respect to myself, I can't imagine being so successful, winning so many things, like just having wins after wins and winning World Cups and comps and being the Dally M and fuck, you'd just be constantly on a high. Like, yeah, dude, I just then going out with a premiership and scoring a try.
Premiership and the Dally M hooker.
Yeah,
and he was still in the top 10 for Dally M voting,
and he would have been picked for Australia if he was making himself available.
100% in the Queensland. So going on to the Titans then, all the Broncos.
Yeah.
Does this, I mean, obviously it does, but how much does this affect, the hype around the Titans, do you think? Or the Broncos, if they, the rumour was that he was going to land one of those clubs.
I reckon there's hype around the Titans no matter what.
Okay.
Around the Broncos, not so much hype.
Well, I completely disagree they're going to win the comp, no bias.
Yes, no bias there. The Broncos, they're a real shot this year. But the Titans, I was just looking through the Titans team earlier today, and I'm like,
wow.
Yeah. They're young, they're hot, good weather, brash. Don't mind a biff.
Bit of swagger. Yeah.
It was nice to see. And speaking of the hooker, Mitch Rain getting a go.
Yeah.
Mitch Rain's been in and out of the bloody. He's a good player.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when I actually saw it, it's weird because I knew it was happening. When I saw Fafita and Tino's name beside each other, I was like, that's absolute Throb Nation.
It is. It's Throb Central. And I was like, also intimidating. Who was the other back row? Was it Proctor?
And then you got Moe in the front row with Jared Wallace, who's also an Origin front rower.
And then you've got Herman Esiese. I don't even know if he made the side.
Matter of fact, I just realised they have, it's like Wallace former, but he could eventually make it back in. They've got Queensland front rower, Moe's Queensland front rower now. He played one game. Tino is Queensland. Fafita is Queensland.
Yeah. Kiwi. Not Skipper Kiwi, is he? No.
No, I don't think so. But yeah, Kiwi. Yeah,
and an
absolutely. Animal loves it. Had one of his best years last year. So when you actually look at that forward pack, you're going, fuck me,
and then their backs are good as well. AJ Brimson, bloody Ash Taylor, who almost seems like he was almost shell shocked from the hype of his early career, where it was like it all got a bit overwhelming, and then now it's a bit like almost like the expectation's gone because of how sour it sort of went for a moment there.
Yeah.
There's a bit of pressure off.
He's got more stars as well to take the shine away.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like Brimo's come through, Tino's come through now, David's there now. Like that shine, the spotlight goes to them.
Yes.
And then he can just
play.
Chill out. But yeah, I mean, there were heaps of years where, he struggled with his mental health, and imagine the pressure.
Fucking oath.
Dude. Because it was also...
At a shit club at the time, no offense.
No bias.
No.
But the crazy thing is with the Titans and the added pressure is if they keep losing, they get kicked out of the club and you're the guy. That's so much pressure.
What do you do?
Like if you have a few bad games and then you've got articles saying, I don't think the Titans should be in the comp.
Yeah.
And you're sitting there wigging out, you're 22 years old and you're going, fuck me.
All the money in the world.
Yeah,
and you're
going, wow.
Oh, shit.
And it frustrates me that people are like, oh, they're on all the money in the world. I'm like, all right, you can have $10 million. Anxiety, not sleeping, doesn't get rid of that
Makes
anxiety.
No difference.
Exactly.
I've never been paid less in my life, and I've probably got less anxiety than I've ever had.
The least money you earn, the least, because you just fuck it.
Yeah, well, fuck it, whatever. No, I can't afford that, so it's all good.
So it was a wishful thinking with the Broncos. I'm sure they approached him.
Oh, I bet you they approached him.
Oh, imagine the fucking shit they would have said to him. Would have been like, see this guy that's worth $1 billion? If you sign with us,
this could be you.
He may be at your house tomorrow night. May or may not be with a suitcase.
Yeah, we can't make any promises, but just check your freezer. I might have put something in there.
If a guy rocks up in a suit with a case of something, it's not from us.
It's not from us, and it's probably cash. And if it's not, it's an IOU for some cash.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you're owed money you're owed money at some stage.
Yeah, that's fine. Look, it's a promise of payment more than actual money, but
it's monopoly money.
Yes, that's it. That's fine. That's cool, right?
Anyway, on to any other big topics that happened over the weekend. Obviously, we had actually, I'm not going to talk about it because I'm going to give you an extra light. But yeah, the game tomorrow night. Rabbitohs v tomorrow night?
Yeah.
Yeah, tomorrow night. Wow. That's exciting. Rabbitohs v the Storm. A few key things. Bellamy's never lost his first round. So he's never lost his first round. The Rabbitohs have never beaten the Storm in Melbourne.
No.
And the Rabbitohs, we're talking 2014 Premier Rabbitohs with GI Prime, Burgess Brothers,
Prime, Benteo,
Renault, fucking Keary.
Yeah.
Walker.
Throbbers galore.
Walker, greatest
Dylan
fullback of all
Walker.
time.
Yeah, Dave. Yeah, the Rabbitohs hate Melbourne. I think, anyone who's a rugby league fan hates
that's
Melbourne.
no disrespect to Walker. I actually think he's a fucking great.
No,
I think
so do I. I think he's a great player as well.
It's just a funny
But,
thing to say. It is a funny thing to say.
He's playing fullback for Manly, greatest fullback of all time. It's
crazy
Walker, Brett Stewart and Turbo fighting it out for second.
It's crazy that you guys had the best fullback of all time playing centre whilst you had the best fullback of all time, Tommy, playing. It's crazy.
It's weird how it works out like that, but you know what I mean? Like, sometimes you don't know what you got until you...
True. That's true.
Until, opportunity knocks.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
honestly think, and we're getting off track here, I honestly think they should keep Walker at fullback.
Yeah.
And I'm being serious here. And Tommy needs to go into centre or 6.
Because of his hammies?
Because his hammies, 100%.
Look, I can see that. I can see the method there, but I also just want to give him a couple more cracks at those hammies. I want to give those hammies a couple more goes.
Yeah, just
he's
increase the likelihood even more of doing it.
It's only the first time he's fucked his good hammy just recently, so I reckon we test that one out a little bit more. And look, Eddie and I on the podcast, we've already donated one hamstring to him, and his left one held up.
The second one ready to go?
Well, yeah, Eddie. So we gave him the left hamstring. That one held up in the shower. Thank God.
Okay.
And the right one's gone. So Eddie's fully prepared to give him his other one if he has to.
So did you go to the same surgeon that sewed Thurston back together?
Yes, I did, actually. It was funnily enough, we spoke to JT. He gave us his number, and we got that. And I think Stephen Dank helped us out as well.
He's reputable. He's reputable.
He's a good man. Danky. Anyway, Rabbitohs.
Yeah, Rabbitohs, the Storm. Yeah. All of those facts.
Side note.
Who do you think is going to win?
I was talking about this. I think there's been, and this is like more of a like punting vibe, where it's like I'm just going off vibe here as much as anything else, but...
I mean, we go off most things in our life.
Most things are vibe-based for me. There's been too much made of the Storm's record and South's record before this game. And Souths are actually very good. Like, if the Souths was just like a relatively all right team, you'd go, well, okay, sure. But South's team's actually really good.
It's red hot.
Really good. Storm, without Cameron Smith, without Harry Grant, without Dal Finucane, I don't know if that just is like enough for me to be like, I think the Rabbitohs.
Okay,
Rabbitohs.
Rabbitohs.
I'm going to go the Rabbitohs.
It's a red hot take. A lot of people wouldn't take the Rabbitohs.
No, well, no one I've actually spoken to has. They've all been like, you're a fucking idiot. And I'm like, well.
I mean, those things, they don't have to be mutually exclusive.
No, they don't. That's true. That's very true. Who do you think?
Look, I think I like what you're putting down. I'm hesitant to pick it up. But
sure, that's fair.
But I do think that you've got a point. Like, Finucane's a massive out. Grant is a massive out. Obviously, you've got Cheese coming in that's important. But then you lose Cheese's impact off the bench, which was huge for them last year. If there is a year they can beat them, this is the year.
Yeah.
Because it's not like they've got an average side coming into this. They've got a red hot Rabbitoh side. When you look at you look at their backline, you got Mansour, Gagai, and then on the other wing you got Johnston.
Campbell
Graham, who was in red hot form last year, probably would have made the New South Wales. You got Latrell at the fullback position, who is fucking firing in all cylinders. Yeah. Honestly, he made that last game look like a joke.
I know.
He was
so big, so thick,
so big, powerful. And so silky.
Yeah.
Big men aren't that silky usually.
No.
And he was incredibly silky. Maybe even authentic silk.
Well. Yeah, right, like a Egyptian cotton silk. Is that what that is?
Well, I'm not sure.
Thread count?
Whatever is authentic, thing.
Yeah, whatever's like the highest thread count silk.
That one, because he was absolutely silky. Ah. Like he's. What's crazy is even me, when I was watching him, transition, I was like, when they kept saying he's going to play different, I was like, yeah, I get that. I think he'll inject himself less, but it'll be more damaging.
Yeah.
What I didn't get was he was going to throw 30-meter cutout balls.
Yeah. That's when know, someone who's gone to fullback. It's like when you know that, okay, these guys are humming now, is when they start just throwing these sick out the back passes to the winger.
Yeah, absolutely. And you can tell he's been there for ages, because that's honestly, the out the back play as a fullback, it is so hard, and it seems like it's an easy thing, but to square that player up and make the right call when you've got the winger hasn't made his choice yet. Obviously, when you've got bad defense that just shoot out of nowhere, you're like, well, that was easy. And he makes the right call nearly every time.
And so that's obviously, do you think that's just another year in the position?
Well, he grew up playing fullback.
Right, so then what's all the shit where everyone's like,
He's not going to be fullback.
he's not good enough,
I think it's based on a lot of Latrell hate, to be honest.
Yeah, right.
Not actually thinking this guy is an absolute friggin' like if you're that good at centre, you can be good at fullback.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of whether you're going to apply yourself or not.
Yeah, right.
I understand people's argument. They're like, oh, is he mentally going to be there and everything like that, because he did go through a lot, but he's there.
Yeah.
He's there, all right.
there.
And he is right up there with some of the best fullbacks in the game. Now, I understand he needs to put together a good season to say that, but I'm saying that with what we're seeing and what we saw at the end of last year, I think more people are starting to go, oh, that's how you're going to play.
Yeah,
Whereas
right.
before they're going to be like, well, the only way you're supposed to play is Tedesco, make heaps of runs, heaps of tackle breaks.
Yeah.
Whereas I think we're seeing with Latrell that there is a different way you can play. And I think that's why Mansour is such a good buy, because where you don't get meters out of Latrell, because you get meters out of Mansour. You get meters out of Gagai, Campbell Graham, whereas they were lacking that a little bit last year, the meterage out of their own end. And also, you got to ask yourself, last year, if the Rabbitohs have Latrell when they played Penrith in the semis, a prelim, do they win the game? I think so.
Yeah.
Because they were 140-20 away. Like, it literally went like this. Reynolds kicks a 40-20.
That's right.
They win the game, 100%. They go down, score a try, boom, try time. And so, huge year. Look, I'm going to go the safe bet of the Storm. I think Bellamy's last year, that's a lot not being talked about.
Is it 100% his last year?
Pretty much. He might be a director at the club, but he said this is going to be my last year.
Right.
Unless it's just a contract negotiation thing. But I'm going to back the Storm, but do not be surprised if the Rabbitohs go down there and do something special.
That's hedging your bets, Dearden.
Yeah, that's sitting on the fence. But that's not biased. That's being not biased.
No, that's true. You're just being completely open to
exactly.
opportunities.
And also, I don't want to be biased towards one team or the other.
Right.
Okay, so I'm just going to sit right here.
Storm will win, but they might not.
But they also might not. So if you do comment and say, the Rabbitohs won, you're a fuckwit, I can say, well, actually, I did say
they could.
They could win.
Yeah.
Which is, obviously, they can win any game.
That's true.
That's why you play the sport to see who wins.
Fantastic.
So I'm going to go Storm.
Great.
Number two. The game number two is, I don't have it up yet because I'm a bad host.
It's Knights Bulldogs.
Knights Bulldogs.
What a Friday 6 p.m. game that one's going to be. With the greatest respect. Unders all day.
Who you got?
I was going through and I was like, before I went through the teams, I thought Knights.
Yep.
And, then I was like, I actually looked at the Bulldogs team. Yeah, the Bulldogs aren't that good, or they weren't last year. But then I was like, oh shit, they've actually recruited pretty bloody well. Like, Corey Allen was sick last year, and now he's playing at fullback. Nick Kotrick's in there, Zalesniak. The halves is probably the only bit where you're a bit like...
Well, Averillo is rookie that's played a few games, but he's a bit of a throbber. Now, we haven't seen the full extent of how much he can throb.
They're not tier one throbbers.
Yeah, not yet.
No.
They got potential.
Not to say they can't be.
Yeah,
but if you're looking at some potential like room for improvement in the throb category, that might be it. But then their forwards are pretty sick, right?
Yeah, that's where I think that the Knights have them.
That's where you think the Knights have
a big advantage.
Well, the Knights forwards are...
So you've got Knights forwards, you've got Clemmer, Brayley, Saifidi, Frizzell, Barnett, Watson.
It's not bad, is it?
That's really good. I mean, that's nearly an origin pack.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Well, Frizzell,
that's true.
Saifidi, Clemmer, Barnett could be there one day. Obviously, Watson has just moved new to the thing.
Where's Watson playing?
13. That ball playing 13.
Is he?
It'll be very interesting to see how up-tempo they play.
Yeah.
Now, you compare that to, and this is no knock on the other pack, but compare that to Ogden, Katoa, Hetherington, Elliott, Waddell, Jackson. I think the strength lies in the Knights.
It doesn't have the same ring to it.
Don't get me wrong. That pack, they've got some... Hetherington's a maniac. Loves it.
Yeah, right. Was he
went from Penrith, Warriors, now he's at the Dogs.
Yeah, right. Who do you think's got the better backline? Do you reckon the Knights have him across the park?
No, not across the park. I think halves-wise, it's going to be interesting because Kurt Mann is more of a ball-running six, very similar to Averillo. Very similar to Averillo. But I actually think backline-wise, you'd probably give it to the Bulldogs.
Yeah.
Then we go to the bench. Look, much for muchness. Interesting that the big papa is on the bench. Dylan Napa, disappointed for him. In saying that, I think like Napa, you want to see him come on for 10 minutes and kill someone.
Yes.
And then take him off. And then kill another bloke the next 10 minutes.
Come back on, iron out a couple of guys.
Yeah.
Another breather.
Because that's where he brings his impact. Whereas in the fast game, he can't do that if he's on there for too long.
So as the speeding up of the game just not necessarily fucked a lot of players, but like completely force players to change the way they play?
Yeah,
or
I think so.
Taking it out of their hands and going like, you now have to be used differently because the game's changed.
I think so. I think you find the big boys that used to do what Napa does, less minutes, a bit fitter. I think a few of them have lost a bit of weight, speaking to them. But I'm going to go the Knights for a win. But I think it's going to be an entertaining game. Who you got?
I'm going to go the Knights purely because of Tex Hoy's name. I think any rugby league name worth its salt has an X and a Y in it, and he's got both. Okay,
fair enough. I mean, that's if there is a way to predict a match, that would be it.
I mean, there are worse ways to predict a game.
Absolutely, there definitely are. When we go, I mean, that's definitely better than Vibe.
Yeah, I think it probably is. Well, that's kind of vibey. It's a little vibey.
Right. Now, this is absolute blockbuster. I'm not biased. Probably the round match of the round. Absolutely.
Yep. Yeah, big time.
Broncos vs Eels.
Huge
game.
Huge game.
Thoughts on that?
Well, listen, the Eels are in a battle with the dying sun to try and win another premiership. They're sort of as the sun. They got about 5 billion years to try and get there. I don't know if it's going to happen. Will the sun burn out completely before they win another comp? The jury's out on that, but they're probably way better than the Broncos, so I think they're at least going to get a win.
Yes, look, obviously my heart says the Broncos, and they absolutely, like when you look at their forward pack, Pangai Jr., Turpin, Lodge, Glenn, Ricky, Pretty Ricky,
yes,
and Paddy Carrigan. That's a fucking good forward pack.
It's a good forward pack. And they've still got Haas to come back in whenever he returns from his injury / suspension.
Exactly. So Haas comes back in and you've basically got, you maybe move Pangai out to the edge or something or whatever you do. But then you look at the other forward pack.
The other forward pack.
And you've got RCG, Reed Marnie, Junior Paulo.
Yeah.
Thropping out of his skin right now.
This is a big, thick forward pack.
Short Lane, Ryan Madison. Have you seen Ryan Madison in real life?
Dude, I sometimes, when you see those photos, you go, is he photoshopped? Like, he always looks like his arms are photoshopped.
No, he's fucking huge.
He's just humongous.
Huge, big, it's like, it reminds me of, the Kanye film clip where he's got the big suit body on?
Vaguely.
With the little pump. And he's walking down the thingo.
Unfortunately, I'm going to have to apologize to Kanye fans everywhere. I don't think it's not coming to me.
Okay, that's upsetting. I'm going to have to get it up so that people can see it.
I've fucked your reference here.
Yeah, that really is upsetting. But we'll get it up really quickly. We won't be boring for the audience, which I'm
that's
sure.
Okay. I think, some people out there, I don't know, maybe I am the only one who hasn't seen the little Kanye video clip. Oh, yeah. Okay, I agree with that.
So that's what he reminded me of when I seen him, because I was like, you have a huge rig on you.
But is he boxy, or is he sort of like, does the body come down into the V?
It comes into the V, but I'd seen his shoulders.
Style. Yeah, shoulders broad as shit.
I mean, Sonny Bill is an aggressive stretch, but in the realm, big boy. Big boy. So that forward, and Nathan Brown, he wants to kill someone too.
Yeah. Origin.
Yeah, he was really good in Origin.
He was really good.
So when you look at that forward pack, you go, fuck me. And then you look at the backline comparisons, Dylan Brown, Mitchell Moses versus Milford Croft. That's a tough one.
Why is that?
Huh?
What's
tough about it? Yeah. Well, again, we've just haven't had time to build the combination.
Yeah, right.
Milford,
no, I agree.
Honestly, though, Milford, I'm going to say something controversial.
Go for it.
It's not that controversial, but
me.
Prime Milford
is
probably better at the moment than Brown Moses.
Oh, I'd agree with it. Prime Milford, I think, was probably as good as anyone.
Probably the best six in the game.
Yeah, he was like, remember when he killed it in Origin? You were like, I think he had a man of the match in Origin one year. You're like, holy shit.
2015, 16.
When he was at the Raiders, he was good. Yep. And it was like, but he just hasn't been prime MILF for a long time.
About 3 years.
He's an aging MILF.
Yeah.
Does he lose the MILF status?
I mean, or does he gain it?
Well, only if he throbs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, fair enough. But that's why I say, like, if he can play, if we see red hot Milford, then that halves combination is as good as each other. If he gets
back to like full blown U-porn MILF, then I think absolutely the Broncos can go.
Step Schuster and stepmum.
Exactly, all that sort of stuff.
Okay,
if you can get back to that MILF, then 100%.
Okay. Herbie Farmworth, huge fan of the way he plays. Coates is a bit of a throbber. But then you've got Maker Siva and you got Blake Ferguson, he's saying all the right things, Fergo. Saying, I want to get back to the old Fergo, referring to himself in third person a lot, which is great.
I love when a winger's doing that.
Absolutely.
Love that.
I love how different Fergo is.
Yeah,
he's so different. I love it. Then you got Wonga Blake. If Wonga Blake can fix his defence, really good. Obviously, the Gutho. You know what Gutho's going to bring.
Yeah. He's got a top knot now as well, which it's hard to go past that.
When you should have won Dally M or got close, you can bring a top knot.
You can bring a top knot. It's hard to argue against a top knot when it's Gutho. I know that. I think Angus Crichton's also employing the top knot recently. Yeah. Usually I don't allow it. But they're throbbing hard enough to. What can you do? You can't take a top knot off a man that's throbbing.
That's exactly. If there's one thing I've known, it's never take a top knot of a throbber. Because
I've always said that.
So with Gutho, the interesting thing is like, how does he go to that next level this year? Like he was one of the best players in the comp this last year, and I think that the Eels to be real competitors, top 4 side, they need that superstar. As in, I'm not saying Gutho's not a superstar. What I'm saying is Gutho gives you 8 out of 10 every fucking game. And obviously there was a finals game or one before the finals where he was amazing, like 3 tries or 3 tries, just whatever. What I'm saying is that like game-breaking, crazy stuff. I think you look at the Storm, you look at the Roosters, the Raiders with Papali and Whiten to an extent. Whereas with the Eels, you'd need to get like a Brown. If Brown can be that game breaker that just does something crazy, Storm, they've got Munster. So I think that's where if Gutho can become that or Brown becomes that, then they really start challenging. Because like sometimes you'd watch the Eels game last year and you'd be like, defense is pretty good, but where's the attack? Like at the end of the year. Whereas if you have that game breaker, they break the game and then momentum changes and all of a sudden get the confidence.
Is Gutho, sometimes I feel like he's underrated in a sense, but I don't know if it's necessarily correct. Like he's obviously very good and he has these games where he's a freak. He does all this crazy shit. But there's almost somehow I feel like he doesn't get enough respect. I don't know if that's wrong or completely.
When you're talking about like top tier elite fullbacks, he doesn't get put in the the.
He's almost like just a shandy off it. What do you reckon that's about? Is that like is he not quick enough?
I think it's about he's very workmanlike about the way he goes about his business. Tedesco, when you see him break 3 tackles in a run, you go holy moly.
He's flash.
Whereas Gutho, he'll run. He won't break 3 tackles, but then he'll take another run. And it's that workman-like, tradesman-like kind of, I guess, persona that he has. So I think that, look, he's the kind of guy that proves that, someone might say, well, he's not worth 700K or whatever. But there are fucking so many clubs that need Gutho. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And sometimes you would actually rather sign Gutho, A, because his price would be reasonable, but also B, he's going to bring good culture. Whereas some stars, they stars, but they don't really attribute to the culture. Whereas Gutho, he's obviously the captain. Yeah. So, and you've got to remember, it was fucking 3 years ago, they won the wooden spoon.
Was it only 3 years ago they won the
spoon? It might even be less, 2017 or 18. 18.
Sheesh, Manly's never won it. I don't know what it's like.
Yeah, that's weird. I mean, this year.
I don't know about that. Yeah, right. Okay, I hear what you're saying, though.
Was it last year where I said I didn't have them in top 8? Or was it this year where I said and you got upset?
No, it was last year because I haven't seen you top 8 this year.
Okay.
And I was upset by that. But we didn't make it, so it was fair.
Actually, no, it couldn't have been.
Or did you have them last year?
Well, I had Tom Trbojevic, Dally.
You had them premiers last year.
I had Smokies.
Yes,
yeah, Smokies.
That's right.
But I non-biased, I said, but if Tom Trbojevic isn't playing, then I'm
Of course. And you telling me that you don't have him in your 8 this year?
No, I don't, unfortunately.
All right.
I mean,
let's wrap this shit up.
But I think Tom Trbojevic, he changes everything.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Fully.
If he could take it to a premiership, as he proved, the year where they were killing it, and then Jake got held back and was rightfully sent off.
Yeah. That was tough.
Okay, so who are you going here, Eels or Broncos?
I'm going the Eels.
Okay, sweet. It's a confident laugh for a man that doesn't have a fullback.
Well, wait, you talking about from a Manly perspective?
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Well, we do have a fullback. We've got Dylan Walker, who's showing himself to be a very stout utility for the Manly Ring of Seal. It was 6.
Okay.
Centre, fullback.
I mean, it was only 2 years ago that we were above you guys. I'm just saying.
Yeah, but I know, but you won a fucking wooden spoon, Dearden. I mean, that's the worst a team can go.
Yeah, but new coach, all that kind of stuff.
I know. Can he coach? Do we know that? He's coached an Origin side. With the greatest respect, I'm just asking questions.
I just think the confidence might be misplaced, especially this year.
The confidence is always misplaced.
Look, I actually think, obviously my heart says the Broncos. I think it's going to be a much closer battle than people think.
Yeah.
Non-biased, obviously.
No, but like I prefer like I think everyone like even though everyone hates the Broncos, it's usually it's really because there's kind of a lot of respect for them, right? So shite.
I understand why people hate us because we were great and we can be great again. Look, I think this is going to be a good indication of where is our culture at. All jokes aside, where is the Bronx culture at? Where is their heads at? You know, are they going to slip out of games in the second half? And they're coming up against a top side. Like even though some people don't have Eels in their top tier sides or whatever, I think Eels are absolutely a top tier side.
Yeah.
So it's a massive test, and I really hope Milford goes really well. I just hope all the boys, even if we don't win, it's just about staying in it for 80 minutes. That's what I hope, and I think Wallace will bring that.
Jake Turpin, I saw a quote from him as well just today, actually, and it was like,
I loved it.
We will not win the spoon. I think we're definitely top 8 side. I was like, that's cool. I like seeing that shit. There's like, it's not an arrogance by any means, but you know, sometimes players they defer to like humility and like, well, we just hope we're better on the day and all that sort of shit. It's like, I actually like seeing that from a team that's just been, you know, had the year from hell.
100%.
And he's just like, nah, man, like we're not a bottom 8 team.
Absolutely.
And we can make the top 8. It's like,
I love that he arced up.
Yeah.
Like, because it seemed like he arced up a bit in the quote. Obviously, I didn't hear him say it. I just saw the quote. But it seemed like it upset him that people kept saying, which rightfully so, like they won the wooden spoon. Because he said, I'm sick of hearing about the wooden spoon. I want them to be pissed. Definitely. I want them to be upset. I want them to say shit like that. Look, if they come out and they don't play that well, it's like, whatever. Like, you know, some Derek's on the internet be like, oh, you said you weren't going to do this. Okay, sweet, whatever. At least they're hurting about something. Like, at least they're actually having a crack.
Yeah.
On to the next one, Warriors-Titans, which is surprisingly going to probably be a cracking game.
Dude, for a 3 p.m. game Saturday, you know, any other year you'd be like, oh, shit, I'll watch the next one. But this is a good game. Obviously, Warriors off the back of like just going the big lift for the whole competition last year. They're out here for a while now, aren't they?
Yeah, I think till June or July.
Have they been able to get their families out for this now?
I think so.
They've been able to plan ahead and sort of, well, that makes life a lot better.
Man, looking at this Warriors lineup, it's getting scary. You know what I mean? Like it's really like Adam Fanua Blake. Sorry,
I know, dude.
Condolences,
dude.
You know. Tanua Brown, he's a gun. Katoa was a throbber last year, barely played any footy, gun. Bailey Sirenen was one of the Rabbitohs' best towards the end of last year.
Oh, Bailey, sorry, I was thinking Jaden Brayley.
Tohu Harris was he won, I think, Lock of the Year or Back Row of the Year, Dally M. And then the back line, have a listen to this back line. The Schnack, Tuivasa Sheck, David Fusatua, fucking beast.
The Force.
Ewan Aitken, I actually rate, not actually as if to say that he's not good, but I rate Ewan Aitken.
Yeah.
I think he's a fucking good player.
Yep.
And he would have been a great buy because I don't think they would have paid 2 extreme overs for him. Peter Hiku, gun, Ken Mamalo, Nikorima, and Harris Tavita.
Yeah, it's a good team.
Like that's one of the best sides they've had, I reckon, in at least 3 or 4 years.
And people just sleep on the Warriors because I guess there's a perception that they're just like also rans or they make up numbers a little bit, or like some years they're hot, some years they're cold.
Yeah.
But they were pretty good last year, especially under the circumstances.
Well, they took Penrith when Penrith were killing it and going on their run. They took them to the death.
Yeah.
And they were coming like 10th at the time. Penrith were on their fucking massive win streak. For a team for the Warriors to do that after everything they'd experienced, I thought that was the best indication that changes are being made. You know, like things are going to be different. So I think this game's going to be a massive clash.
New coach in Nath Brown.
New coach. The Titans though, when you look at like Fafita and Fa'asua Ma'alawi, I hope I got that right.
You did.
I've been trying to practice it.
Fa'asua Ma'alawi.
That is formidable.
It's good, dude. I love seeing the Gold Coast. The Gold Coast might be my second favourite team in 2021.
Really? Yep.
Just because there's a bit about them.
Are they the Raiders of a few years ago? Like everyone loved the Raiders?
Yeah, but the Raiders like went on a run and I think everyone started getting behind them when the Raiders were going well and then they made the final. This one's a bit more like you don't know what you...
Yeah.
I think the shine will come off real quick if they just get pumped every game. You know, it'll be like, oh, no. Okay. No, okay. It's the same thing.
Titans.
No, Raiders not your favourite team.
You know what's funny is like 2019, everyone loved the Raiders. And then like 2020, they still loved them, but nowhere near as much because like they made the grand final.
Yeah.
And it's like we all love that underdog.
They become the rivals after the year. Like the next year, it's like, okay, well, now these guys are just going to be like a pain in the ass and they're going to be really good.
Beating my team.
Yeah, exactly. They just keep beating my team. But no, the Titans certainly, they've got that shine, that new toy shine. A lot of young, hot throbbers. AJ Brimson's a freak. What he did in Origin, I think, I did not expect him to be as good. Again, obviously, I'm a biased New South Welshman, but like we were all like, oh my God, look at this Queensland team. We're going to roll them. And then you're like, oh, okay, eat my words. And he's incredible.
Mate, Brimson reminds me a lot, not like the same as Tedesco, but he's similar to Tedesco. High work rate, always around the ball. And that's what I thought was really good that he brought into Origin. Like, Ponga's a very different fullback. Ponga he still does a lot of work, but he's not hanging around the ball, sniffing around the ball. He's more, out the back plays, bit of a ball player, good footwork. Whereas Brimo, he's going to give you fucking, 25, 30 runs. And if Brimo can stay fit and play 20 games, they make the 8 absolutely this year, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think he's also a lovable character. So I actually think from a fan's perspective, he's going to shoot up into one of the better fullbacks in the competition. And he came through with Ponga in that, as one of the guns.
Yeah. And who's in the rest of the backline? I was looking at it today.
Anthony Don, stalwart.
The Don. Well, just, a great clubman. Manages to grind out a fair few tries every year.
Mate, every year.
He's always there.
He's earned his pay packet.
Fucking oath. It's like, mate, whatever. He's an example of a player the NRL should be like, you can just pay that dude whatever you want outside of the salary cap.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't think I've ever seen him speak.
Has the Don ever been interviewed?
I love the Don.
You should be getting the Don on the
podcast. You know what? I think I
podcast.
messaged him ages ago and was like, hey, would you like to come? And he was like, yeah, sweet. And then we just didn't organise the time. Yeah. But I would love to have the Don on.
He's not chasing fanfare. You know what he does? Yeah. He just wants to score tries and just make tackles for his club.
But when what I love about guys like him is when the Titans are struggling and they're like, winning spoons and that, he's still turning up, putting on
every single week
15 tries a year or something around that era, 10 to 15 tries. It's so easy to throw the towel and go, and
just go, fuck this. You know what, dude? Let's just put the Q in the rack this year. Don's like, no way. I'm going down. He'll be like a club great.
Absolutely. I think they need to push his personality more.
Yeah, definitely. Statue for the Don.
I think big year So Patrick Herbert was really good in the Multiverse Indigenous All-Stars.
Did he used to play for the Warriors, right?
Yeah, he was really good. Brian Kelly, he was their player of the year last year.
Former Manly player,
very he was
strong.
really good at Manly as well. I couldn't believe you let him go. Dude, you guys let go of Luke Metcalf too. Tommy goes down.
Bro, that makes me feel sick that Luke Metcalf in the Nines, and I'm so sorry to everyone that I kept dropping into Manly stuff, but I can't help it. Luke Metcalf was a fucking weapon, dude. He's so quick.
Weapon. He's a weapon.
He's so quick.
He's a weapon, absolutely.
Sorry.
That's all right. Corey Thompson, I think Corey Thompson's going to have a fantastic year.
Yeah.
New lease of life. You know what he's going to bring? Heaps of fucking runs.
Yep.
Really deceptively hard to tackle for us, not that big of a bloke. I actually really rate him. I thought he was really good as well in the Indigenous All-Stars game. Then we've gone through the forward pack. Bench, Tyron Peachy. Any team with Peachy coming off the bench, they can just jag a game out of nowhere.
Yeah.
He is that guy
he's
where...
He's an Australian and New South Wales representative.
Yeah, he's a gun.
He's on your goddamn bench.
He might be the best impact player ever.
Who's the 13 for...
For Titans?
It's for Feeder, right?
No, it's Tino. Feeder's 12.
Yep. So just in terms of the way the game's being played, you look at Newcastle where they've got Connor Watson or South, they've got Cam Murray where it's a bit more... It's a quicker... Does Tino still have that in his game? Is Peachy a similar player to a Connor Watson in that sense where he could be playing at 13 with a quicker game?
Well, absolutely. You're totally right. Will the size of their pack affect them when it comes to the speed of the game? I just think it all depends on have they adjusted for that? You know what I mean? Have they made sure that there are going to be, maybe Corey Thompson comes in a little bit more to ball play, or maybe Ash Taylor has more responsibility, or maybe they rely on Brimo's fitness to get through the extra work to cover that bit of ball playing. I also think that, with guys like Tino, they're so big, but they're so mobile as well. So they actually might be the exception to the rule.
Yeah, okay.
And they actually break teams apart because they have extra big men coming at you. But it's going to be interesting whether by the end of the season, Tino moves to... either front row or because he can play front row, big fucking boy, or he moves to 11 and Proctor moves somewhere. You know what I mean? It'd be interesting by the end of the season he moves from that 13 and Peachy comes on as that 13 because, as you said, Peachy could be a great 13.
Yeah.
So who you going to win this match?
Titans. Yeah, Titans,
okay.
definitely.
I'm going to go Titans because, obviously, being a Gold Coast boy, I want the Gold Coast Titans to win, so I'm going to go Titans. Next game, Roosters v Manly.
Beautiful.
James Tedesco, arguably one of the greatest fullbacks of all time, against also the greatest fullback of all time.
The greatest fullback of all time in Dylan Walker. Dill. Look, it's a tough one. Look, obviously I think that you can basically discredit everything I'm about to say because I'm completely fucking biased. But when Kieran was on, when he wasn't at Manly. Like his season at the Dogs, I think he got Player of the Year at the Dogs last year. Obviously, he's been getting super injured, but like when he's not, it wasn't like he wasn't playing well. So to have him back in there, Manly hasn't had a consistent halves partner with DCE for almost essentially since he left. And then we managed to Aloye isn't Adam Fanua-Blake with the greatest respect, but like he's still a good player, almost a player on the rise a little bit.
Absolutely.
So it was almost not, it wasn't like for like, but it was able to,
if you're going to replace someone with Fanua,
Fanua-Blake with someone, he's a good replacement. And then is the back row Gajewski, Sirinen, Jake?
Tedeschi, Sirinen, Jake Trbojevic,
Yeah, right.
Tapau. Yep.
Like, I mean,
Croker
and
at 9.
Tapau, Croker and the hooker. That's a good fucking side, ladies and gentlemen. I hate to break it to you. That's a good fucking side. And then Brad Parker, who many of you may not know this, but has the bone density of a fully grown chimpanzee and the strength of an ant. Ants can lift 50 times their body weight. That's why. That's a good centre pairing with Brad Parker and Moses.
Moses Sully, potential-wise, could be the best centre in the game.
Yeah, but he could also play back row.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like he's one of those people where it's like, as he thickens, as he gets older, as we all do.
He's a big boy.
He's humongous.
Fucking hell. He actually, 2019, he was the best centre in the comp during finals footy. Yeah. Like he was taking the piss. And at each game, I think he played 2 games in that year in the finals, then got bounced by the Rabbitohs when Jake rightfully got sent off.
I'll walk right out of here. I swear to God, I will walk out of here.
He was incredible. He was incredible.
He's got a bit of footwork for a big boy as well.
Absolutely. Look, I think the biggest issue for you guys is the 9 role. No knock on Croker, but he's not a specialist 9. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. Like Kieran Foran and Cherry is great. That's fantastic. But can the service be what it needs to be? I think the interesting thing long term for the Seagulls is Schuster isn't in the starting 17. Is he injured?
I don't believe so.
I don't think he's injured. Could you potentially lose? He's off contract, I'm pretty sure, this year coming. Lose an absolute superstar in the making.
Yeah, I hope to Christ we don't.
Yeah.
But listen, if I can speak to Josh for a moment, like, do you want to learn, ply your trade, learn your craft behind DCE, best half back in the game, Kieran Foran, former captain of his country at 20 years old or something. Do your own research on those numbers. They're not long for this world in a rugby league sense, so like you'll get your time. Bide your time. You want to end up at the Dogs or the Tigers? Like fuck, man. Come on. With the greatest respect to those two teams,
mate. The tough thing right now is he has such potential for an incredible career.
Yeah,
is that clubs will be interested.
I know. And I actually heard somewhere he was also training at back row in the off-season. Like, so he's obviously, because he's quite big. He's like 100
don't do that,
kilo.
though.
Yeah, well, listen.
Don't do that.
No. But if it keeps him in the side, whatever.
So that's where, like, sometimes selections are made because coaches are like, we've got to keep this guy.
Yeah.
We've got to keep this guy. That's why people are shocked with Croft not being the Broncos. Dearden not being the Broncos, is because Dearden goes, well, fuck, all right. I'm going to get a fucking 400, 500K 3-4 year contract from somewhere else. I'm out of here. I'm not playing NRL. Yeah. And so it's going to be interesting to see how Manly balance that.
As a Broncos fan, just quickly go back, who would you have at halfback?
Who would have I had? I mean, I haven't watched enough in the trials. I haven't seen preseason attitude and the way they train and that really matters. And Croft has a lot of experience, and right now the Broncos doesn't have a lot of experience. That's how bad we're in a position where he has a lot of experience, which is not a lot at all.
No.
Whereas Dearden is still young. I personally probably lean more towards Dearden, but I haven't seen them train. I don't know how the boys react to him. I don't know, do they listen to Dearden? Does he control a game well enough? Whereas Croft has proven he can control a game. It's just a matter of getting it right.
Doing it.
So the biggest takeaway for me, Manly's Roosters, is like shit. Like that Schuster. He could be anything. Like,
yeah. I've only just heard about it. Like again, he played that one game where
Benji Marshall said it's the best debut he's ever seen while playing as a six across the ring.
Stop drawing attention to it, all right? Like, I know he's fucking.
So other clubs, there is a young half on the rise that if you're interested in him, isn't getting a run when maybe he should. And also, he was basically promised, no one's confirmed this. He was basically promised to start and then they went outside someone else. So he may be jaded.
And his name is Tom Dearden.
Josh Schuster. Josh Schuster. He's Josh Schuster, not Dearden. Dearden is a loyal servant of the Brisbane Broncos.
Yes.
But apparently, in a Broncos jersey in his crib.
Okay,
He's
really?
never leaving.
I thought he was a Gold Coast boy.
No. Yeah, but you can be. I'm from the Gold Coast.
Support
Yeah.
Broncos, okay.
So he's not going anywhere. Don't even bother.
No,
Don't contact his
Don't even
manager.
waste your time.
Don't call Dearden's manager. Don't call him. It's not going to happen. Fucking move on to move south of the border. There's a guy called Schuster. Incredible talent. Could be the next Benji Marshall. Currently off contract and really pissed off.
I don't know if he is.
No one said that. No one even
We're
told
not
us that.
speaking for Josh. Josh, reach out.
But it is interesting. It is interesting.
Yeah, it certainly
for
is.
both
And
clubs.
hopefully they just fucking work it out. Can he play hooker at 150 kilos? I don't know. How do the Roosters cope with the loss of Flanagan? You know, are they going to be able to survive that?
Well, I mean, there's the Roosters. Look at their fucking backline. Tedesco, Tupu, Morris, Manu, Lamb, Keary.
Okay. No, you're right. Okay. Thank you for answering that question.
Lindsay Collins.
Seems like you're going to be okay.
Lindsay Collins, Origin. Jake
rate
Friend,
Lindsay
Origin.
Collins.
Luke Keary, Origin. Morris, Origin. Manu, Kiwi. Morris, Origin. Tupu, Origin. Tedesco, Origin. Collins, Origin. Friend, Origin. Tokiaha, New Zealand. Crichton, Origin. Tupanui, probably going to play for his country. Isaac Liu, he's played New Zealand, I'm pretty sure. Nearly the whole of the Roosters side is a representative player, either Origin or a Tier 1 nation.
Yeah, I know. It's crazy. And obviously no one really knows how that happens. But
You know, I want to hear a bit of pub ammo that's fucking mental.
Yeah.
The Roosters are the only club that hasn't been caught breaching the salary cap.
which is almost why we need to look extra hard. Didn't they bring on Ian Schubert to like manage their shit after he retired? Don't cut that out. I don't know if that's going to get anyone arrested. But yeah, look, even if they do cheat blatantly in front of our very faces, everyone does to some degree. So I'm cool with that. Like, I got no problems with that. They're a great side. I like the Roosters, even as a Manly fan. I do like them. They're hard not to like. All their players are good guys. Like, they seem like they're just
professionalism.
Cool. Yeah, it just seems like a fucking awesome club to be at, right?
Yep.
Seems like a great club, but Manly 13 plus.
Sometimes there's more to footy than rep players, great culture, premierships.
Yeah, exactly. You know, good coach, good looking.
Yeah.
You know, eastern suburbs.
So what do you think Manly has that Roosters don't?
Manly has a tenacity and like a dig in for your mates, trench warfare type attitude rugby league. You know
I can picture that in the northern suburbs. That is definitely what I attribute to the
They're a
northern
bit
suburbs.
rough on the beaches. Like, the beaches is beautiful and lovely, but like there's an underbelly there where it's like, they'll roll you if they have to.
I mean,
you know
Tom
what I mean?
Trbojevic is a man of the streets.
He's a tough bastard, Tommy. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
The camera cut off, but after that guy beat him in that race, he flogged him around the corner.
Yeah, absolutely. He was just hitting his top speed. You know what does it like frustrate? I think we spoke about this.
Yeah.
But the guy, I mean, I know he's having a bit of a G up, but it's like, bro, Tommy's 105 kilos, hasn't warmed up. He's been doing elite training all week.
And
he
been
might
on
be
the
a bit
piss all
tight.
day, probably.
Been on the piss all day. He might be a little bit tight.
Yeah.
And he might be, yes, you're 70 kilos rigger wet, but Tommy's top speed might be a little bit bigger.
Exactly. Tommy might just get there, you know, a couple of seconds later. But I do also respect that guy for just going on the media.
Oh,
mate,
it was hilarious.
Radio shows and
it was
shit.
so fucking funny. Like imagine being him just in order. He's getting quoted like an athlete. Do you know what I mean? Getting quoted like an athlete.
And then Batuta writing articles about him being signed by the Tigers.
Yeah,
and shit.
exactly. Like he'd be like, that was the best night of my life.
Yeah, definitely.
I think like what's funny is that he actually challenged him to the foot race. Like that's an old fashioned challenge. You know what I mean? Like a good old fashioned man on man.
Yeah.
Who is faster?
Who's faster? It's almost just the most basic human metric that you just, you know, obviously without being violent. It's just like, who's quicker over 100
Who
meters?
can not get eaten by a tiger? Who's going to get eaten first?
Exactly. If it's a life or death situation, who's going to make it?
So Harry was his name?
I believe it was Harry.
Alias, maybe.
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe. Because Harry, okay, yeah, I would be given an alias. I wouldn't be given my real name. So Harry technically is more of a specimen because he wouldn't get eaten by a tiger.
Correct.
So you're number one fullback.
If you're talking about like natural selection and shit, then...
So your number fullback is a bit of a beta?
Hey, if you're saying that to Tommy Turbo, I'm fine with you. I think Tommy, as you said, for all the reasons, it was just taking a while to get up to top speed. He's also such a sweetheart. He was probably like, I'm going to give this guy a moment he'll never forget. I'm going to let him beat me.
You know what's crazy? He is actually such a fucking nice guy.
He probably did
do that.
He probably
we have
did.
confirmed Tom Trbojevic let him win the race because the moment is bigger now.
Yeah.
Think about that guy. His life's changed forever. Whereas Tommy beats him, no one talks about it. Nothing happens. Shit night out. Boys, I'm going home. Probably got dumped by his missus. Because he got beaten by Tommy.
Tommy, exactly. She's seen him just get absolutely beated on the course.
Yeah, absolutely. No, that makes sense, actually.
Many a man's been dumped after being put on the bitch on the course. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Just like,
You know what? I actually got I've never been in a foot race, but if I did, I know my missus would leave me.
Correct. 100% she would.
You know what? That makes a lot of sense. Tom Trbojevic let the guy win.
Yep.
Because he's such a nice guy. That's
You heard it
crazy.
here first.
Apparently the guy's dead now.
Really?
Apparently. Who you going, Roosters, Manly?
I'm going Manly. I can't tip against them.
Okay, Roosters. Penrith Cowboys. Cowboys are my biggest swing side.
Really?
Biggest swing side. Think about it. Michael Morgan, when he's on, was only 3 years ago. Literally took his team to a grand final with some of the best form in the comp. He has won multiple origins. He's been to 2 grand finals, won one of them, had the big play in one of them that a lot of people don't respect enough, in my opinion. Underrated play.
It's the biggest play in the whole fucking grand final.
Absolutely. But everyone
talks about Thurston. Yep. No offense to Thurston.
Right. But definitely no offense.
That pass is the best fucking pass you've
Literally
ever seen.
like that. And what's crazy, small detail that you can only get in the locker room, it was out of his bad hand.
Dude. Yeah, what the... That pisses me off with those highlights. Like, Thurston dropped goal. Yeah, it won it. But, that flick pass...
was outrageous.
It was everything, though. It was the only way they get to a drop goal.
Absolutely.
Through that flick pass.
And also, he's not a big dude. And he's not a centre flick passing. He's a 7. Or was he 6 that year? And Thurston was 7. So he's his 6, running like a Joey Manu centre or a Latrell Mitchell. Like, Latrell does it, incredible, but that's Latrell.
That's Latrell.
Michael Morgan, in his bad hand, that week he was going to Matt Scott and saying... And Matt Scott literally said to him, "Stop practicing that, bro, because you're never going to use it."
Oh, really?
Because it was in his bad hand. He's like, "Mate, don't worry about practicing your bad hand."
Yeah. Oi, Matt, pipe down, bro.
Matt, one of the greatest forwards of the generation.
Yeah. You're a nut trucker, dude. You truck nut.
But that's crazy. I don't think he said it that aggressively. Like, he was like, "Bro, stop."
No, I know. I just took it there. I apologize.
No, I kind of led you there.
You did, yeah, fuck.
And so I just think that's outside of Scott Sattler tackle, and it might actually be bigger.
I think it's bigger. Scott Sattler one was cool.
Was incredible.
It was like the whole moment you're seeing him gain on him again.
Yeah.
But that was the player to win the grand
that's
final.
That I honestly think that's just under Benji Marshall Goosey flick pass try time.
That one's pretty hectic as well.
Imagine I'm surprised we didn't see his balls hanging out of his footy shorts. That's how big they have to be.
Humongous balls.
To Goosey and flick no look pass behind you in a grand final, and you're only 20 years old or so.
It's the confidence of youth. Often the sack much bigger at that age.
It must have been overflowing with testosterone. Those
humongous
balls.
Amounts.
He must have strapped them to his leg.
They should have done tests on it as soon as you got off the field.
He must have been injecting semen into his balls,
from somewhere else.
Yeah, I think it's illegal, but
it's like blood doping, but it's semen.
Yeah, because the guts, the guts, the guts. And the balls.
The balls and the semen injected.
All that kind of stuff. That's maybe legal.
We haven't.
Don't ban them
Look into
retroactively.
it.
Don't take the premiership off them, please. They won it 2005.
Don't even look into it.
Yeah,
let's just
leave it there. But that's the greatest grand final play of all time.
Yeah, it's pretty good. It's great, but it's also, I don't know if it's the greatest for me because a lot still had to happen. Pat Richards still had to throw off fucking Bowen and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah, but he did make a full field break and then did a Goosey to flick pass.
It was I reckon it's like the best looking play in a grand final.
Okay.
I think Michael Morgan's is actually still better.
The greatest player of all time in a grand final. What about Joey Johns down the short line?
Joey Johns. It's Joey Johns. I think it's those two because it decides the game.
Top 3 those. I reckon top 3.
Yeah, I'd happily see that.
I'm happy too. I'm happy. So Cowboys, look at their back line. Bit of a smoky back line. Drinkwater, he's a good player.
Mm-hmm.
Felt. Isan Masters, who actually 2018 won Centre of the Year in full field goals Team of the Year, which is everyone bags field goal, but he fucking knows footy.
Shit.
And he also ran for the most metres over 3,000 in 2018. So he's a good fucking player.
Yeah.
Hamiso, I mean,
he's a freak.
Do I need to say? Dare I say more about watching, when I see him in flight, it honestly reminds me of GI, obviously, he doesn't run like GI.
He runs like Peachy, I reckon, but faster.
Yeah,
it's smooth. He's just floating.
But that's what I'm saying. When we talk about the iconic runners in space,
Yeah.
like Renoff, like Inglis, like Peachy, he's one of them.
Yeah.
He just seems to move different. And it also seems like he's not even trying, which is scary.
Yeah, it looks effortless.
Yeah.
And you're honestly, I would be interested in watching Cowboys games because he's playing. You're like, he's one of those people that
absolutely.
he's a draw card.
Absolutely. Then you got Valentine Holmes on the wing, who is probably the best winger in the comp when he's playing
on.
wing.
Yeah.
Michael Morgan, Jake Clifford. I think that's a very competitive backline. Like I know Penrith, they won 7 minor premiers, got a great backline. Edwards, Staines, Momorowski, Crichton, To'o, Luai, and Cleary. It's pretty hectic.
Pretty nice.
But I don't think that the gap is as big as people think. I don't think it's like 15th versus fucking first.
No. You know what? I was gonna bag the Cowboys quite severely, and you've actually sort of swayed me back the other way.
Like they're of equivalent talent. Reece Robson, Api Coruscant. Reece Robson's actually a really fucking good player. He was actually touted as like, one of the next big things. Really good player. I think he got signed from the Dragons. The Dragons lost him. And so obviously Api Coruscant is one of the best hookers in the comp. But I'm just saying like the gap isn't as big. Jordan McLean. Like he was at the Storm, killed it. But if he finds that form again, Fisher Harris obviously unfucking believable.
He's terrifying as a player.
Just loves it, and he's really soft spoken too, which is great. Those fucking big giants.
They're almost the scariest people.
Yeah, Billy Army, Kickow, incredible. Like I do think that the Penrith forward pack is obviously better, but then you look at like any pack with Jason Taumalolo in it. It's a scary fucking thought.
Yes.
Then you've got the bench, Granville, Josh Maguire, interesting that he made the bench, Corey Jensen, Ruben Cotter versus Liam Martin, Matt Eisenhuth, Spencer Linu, Tyrone May. Like, I would say they're relatively even benches-ish.
Yeah, I mean, I guess does like recent form have to go into it a little bit? Where it's like,
absolutely.
The Panthers coming in off a real
hot
run.
What I'm saying is like I understand Penrith are still favourites.
Yeah.
I just don't think the gap is as big as people think.
Yeah.
And I also think Payton managed to take a Warriors side who, on paper at the stage, was probably not as good as this Cowboys side. They took Penrith to like one try
all the way. Yeah.
All the way. And so could he take this side to around that area?
He's an interesting element to it that you don't know how much of an impact he has because he's touted as I don't know about next big thing coach, but he's certainly a coach on the rise that everyone's got a lot of raps on.
Yep.
So look, Penrith probably going to do the job, but certainly you've made a fair and reasonable case for me not to bag the Cowboys as much.
You know what? Who are you picking?
For
Penrith.
Fucking Penrith by a lot.
Penrith by a lot.
No, just Penrith maybe 13.
This is going to be. Look, I know the smart thing is to say Penrith. This is going to be my like upset. This is going to be my value bet.
Yeah.
If you want a value bet, I know nothing about punting and I don't bet. But if you are going to bet, this would be my side.
Cowboys
to win. I'm not going to say they're going to win.
You're not going to say they're
going to
win.
But I'm saying value bet. What I'm saying is like.
If you want to just have a crack at
an upset, this is the upset to go for.
Okay, all right.
So yeah, Cowboys to win.
Cowboys.
I'm just going to say Cowboys to win.
Yeah, there you go. Say that. Back yourself.
But also the value bet.
Yeah, value bet. Cowboys to win. Penrith could win.
Put it this way: like if I wanted a safe bet and I was betting right now, obviously I'd go Penrith because But I'm just saying that like I'm going to throw an upset out there of the week. This is my upset of the week.
Love it.
Raiders versus Tigers.
I actually had a stat here that my mate was telling me today. Let me just get it because the number was staggering.
Dane Laurie is a huge find for me. Really impressed with him. 7 tackle breaks last week, 3 try assists or 2 try assists, 2 line breaks, 2 line break assists. He was incredible in the trial. I think he's going to be one of the finds of the year.
I haven't seen enough of Dane. He was Penrith before, right?
He is the perfect candidate for Rookie of the Year because he's in a side that he can stand out in, and they're going to revolve around him. So he's my early smoky for Rookie of the Year. This is going to be an interesting game, though. Look, I'm going to go the Raiders to win.
I think you got to go the Raiders.
Yeah.
Just for this stat alone, ladies and gentlemen, that in the last 8 meetings between the Raiders and the Tigers, the scoreline is 288-74. So go Raiders large.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Raiders large. The Raiders are my smoky for the premiership this year.
Absolutely.
Everyone's talking South, Roosters, Storm.
Bro, they've got basically, other than Bateman, they've got basically the same side, but they've got George Williams in his second year with Whiten, and Whiten is only 2 years into his fucking 5, and he's a Dally M.
And they've lost Bateman, who's obviously he was unquestionably fantastic, but Hudson Young is a great player.
He was incredible at the
He's
end
a
of
great
last
player,
year.
and Corey Horsburgh is a great player.
Yep, he's an angry player.
He's an angry player, but he's a
Would you love that?
fantastically angry player, right? Like they've got
Joe Tapine. Tapine, sorry.
Mate, I don't know. I thought I was doing it wrong.
No, I got corrected on my podcast.
Oh,
it's
really?
Tapine.
Tapine?
Tapine.
He's a fucking animal.
Aren't you half Kiwi?
Yeah, but not Maori.
Oh, okay. Māori. But you know what's funny? It's like, I'm you, but just people have said you're a fucking idiot.
Yeah, you've been corrected.
Exactly.
I haven't. No, dude. Who was he playing last year where he scored that try?
Roosters.
And it was like, holy
Cordner,
shit.
Kiri, and then someone else fended them all off. Yeah.
So he's an animal as well.
Yep.
And then their backs.
Whitehead is like just a grinder.
Gets it done.
And then you got Chance Nickel-Klokstad, who statistically actually had a bigger year than the year before. But the year before, everyone was on him, grand final, right? Statistically, so he hasn't lost that form, and he can still be an elite fullback.
Yeah.
And on top of all that, the Raiders got pumped by the Storm. The Storm pumped the Panthers in that first half, and the only reason that the score's even close is because the Storm just went Q in the rack. Fucking, we've won this easy. Yeah. Even if they do start coming back, we'll just score a few tries. It'll be sweet. So like people that they got to the prelims and they got pounded. They got pumped.
Yeah.
Maybe both the same things.
You can go with that.
I think that actually is more of an indication of how good the Storm were, and the Penrith Panthers also got pumped in that first half.
Yeah.
So the Storm had just figured the game out. They were playing such good footy, and the end score of the grand final actually also, it doesn't do the Storm justice, but also it doesn't show that the Raiders were also just in the Panthers boat. You know,
Yeah, exactly.
They were good.
Storm
they
were
just weren't great.
Pounding everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Or pumping.
Pumping and pounding.
But pumping and pounding. Yeah.
Both acceptable.
Yeah, I think so. I think pounding it might have a more sexual flavour to it. What do you reckon pumping does?
You know what? You do both.
Dog pound.
The dog pound.
Yeah, doggy pound.
But yeah, the Tigers. I'm not a huge Tigers fan as like a Manly fan. Like I just, in a rugby league sense, I don't like the Tigers, so it's very hard for me to sort of get behind them. I do like Jimmy the Jet.
Did they finish above you last year?
They probably did, mate. They didn't finish in the top 8, and
they finished above the Broncos. That's
they're a merger of two clubs, which I just can't get behind. But yeah, look, the Tigers will probably run 9th again. They're okay. They brought in Tarmow.
The scary thing with the Tigers is and we probably say this every year, but if Roberts and Leilua fire, that's a violent backline.
Yeah,
you know
it's
what I mean?
intimidating. But okay, with the greatest respect to Luke Brooks, I'm talking if I'm a Tigers fan, at what point do you start going? What the fuck, bro?
Me and Finchy spoke about this, and it's at this is the year where if it doesn't work, nothing against Brooks and nothing against the Tigers. Both people need to go separate ways, because I feel like Brooks at the Storm, Brooks at the Roosters, Brooks at one of the big dog clubs.
He's got what it takes, but it's just not working.
Well, I just think that maybe all the different coaches, all the different halves pairings. I'm not
true. No, that's fair.
I'm not saying it's not
stable.
Yeah. I'm not saying it's not his fault. I'm just saying that the club has struggled. They've struggled to recruit. They've struggled with retention. They've struggled on the field with their roster hasn't been strong for ages.
No.
And Luke Brooks clearly has the talent, and he's won their Player of the Year. I understand that they haven't gone well, but he has won their Player of the Year 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
So it's not like he's diabolical.
No.
He's been the best of something that's struggling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mate, it's actually a very sympathetic way to look at it, where the default for rugby league fans like myself is halfback, team shit.
Yeah. He's the one to blame.
He's the one to get rid of him, but you're absolutely right when it comes to the Tigers. It's been a shit show for a while.
They've just struggled on and off the field. They continue to struggle. Things get leaked all the time. Players wanting to leave. It's not just they don't have issues with just one player or whatever. They've got issues everywhere that need to be sorted. Now I think that maybe Michael Maguire's hardline stance works long term, maybe not. But what I am saying is he's been the best. So it's not like he's. You know what I mean? He's not the worst of the worst. He's been the best of something that's struggled.
Yeah.
So you wonder, going into a system that isn't struggling, what happens? And I think he's still 26 or so.
Super young.
What's crazy, the thing with Luke Brooks is we could be, in 5 years' time, He's so talented, in my opinion. We could be looking back going, "What he played at the Tigers? Like, fuck, he's a gun."
Right.
That's how good he is, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because he's still got ages to go in his career. Put it this way, I'm pretty sure he is Luke Brooks' age. Let's just assume he's around, 20.
So when did he start? 2008.
It's
like a 19-year-old.
No, he's about 26 years old, I'm pretty sure. But let's assume he's 26 years old. 26, 27, I'd say.
He's certainly got enough time to turn it all around, right? Like
He's 26 years old.
26. So he's got a shitload of time, and they don't usually come into what they always say, like the prime is late 20s.
Yeah, but what I'm trying to say, you're right. But what is interesting is he's 26 years old. Cody Walker hadn't even debuted yet.
Yes. Yeah.
Which shows you that he still has time to impact the game the way Cody Walker has.
Yeah.
Cody Walker at the moment is one of the best sixers in the game. Top 3.
Yeah.
And he hadn't debuted yet. So if Cody Walker can do all that, then Luke Brooks can absolutely go to another club if they don't turn around this year at the Tigers and go really well.
You wonder why he wouldn't. Like if you have a bad year, I mean, the Tigers will probably part ways, right? But you're like, it'd be almost refreshing.
Yeah. That's what I mean for everyone.
Yeah.
No longer can Tigers players like fans be like, oh, Luke Brooks this that. No longer can he be blamed for whatever's happening.
Yeah.
So it's going to be interesting. I hope he does turn it around because I personally
Absolutely.
think he's really, really talented. I'm going to go the Raiders in this match. I just think that, you look at their side, they're absolutely a top 4 side, top 4, top 5, and they can make a run towards the finals. And you're going Raiders?
Oh, I'm going Raiders with it like plus 20.
Plus 20, wow. Dragons versus Sharks. This is our beers and footy show this weekend. We've got Finchy, myself, Jarrell Yaoyi, and Rennie Matua. We'll be watching the footy, and you can watch it with us pretty much. It's basically like the Fight Companion Joe Rogan or the Kickoff with True Geordie. We watch it, we commentate a bit, we banter a bit, we have beers. It's going to be each week, and it's just a different way to watch footy. We're going to give insights that commentators may or may not give, but also stories, and just talk like mates talk when they're at the pub rather than being like, the boring same old bickering and stuff like that.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the sort of, I'm excited for you guys to start doing it. It's that thing as well where like you're sitting at home on a Friday, or so what is it, a Sunday. And like, you're just watching the TV. No offense to, I'm not talking shit at any commentators who are doing it, but like, sometimes it's actually really good just to mute the TV and you feel like you're just sitting there and you're part of another conversation.
Absolutely. And that's the thing. With the commentating, it's a different feel because like they're commentating, whereas it's like you're watching it with your mates.
Exactly.
Digitally. New age kind of stuff.
Correct.
But Dragons Sharks. Now, we chose this game because it's more of it's a derby.
Yeah.
It's obviously two teams that I think Sharks will hover around the 8. Dragons, I think, will struggle. Who have you got in this game?
I have the Sharks. To be honest, it's mainly because of how bad the Dragons were in the Charity Shield, more than anything to do with the Sharks. Did I see, is Fafita playing? Has he been dropped?
He has not made this. He's in the squad, but it doesn't look like he's playing at the moment.
That's wild. Is he injured, or is that like a Fafita's not necessarily fallen off, but that the Sharks have got players like they've got such like?
I'm not sure. I don't know. Maybe
not to put you on the spot.
Look, I spoke to Morris last night. He said he hates his guts.
Oh, okay, sweet. Well, there you go. No, that's good to clear that up. Yeah, look, the Dragons, I feel sorry for the Dragons. Like, in a sense, I do, and in a greater sense, I don't at all. But, like, you lose Frizzell, McInnes is out. Not a lot of inspiration there. Like, if you're a Dragons fan, that's who I feel sorry for.
Mate, the only person that I care about is Magolius!
And where's he playing? What position is he playing?
17.
So he's in.
That's not the best last name in the comp.
Dude, it's easily the best name in the comp.
Can you Ray Warren?
I know.
Grand final.
I know.
Billy Magolius. Mate, unbelievable name.
I'll spontaneously combust if I hear Rabs go full Magolius.
Like, could you he makes a break in the grand final, and it's like, it's vintage Ray. I know, like he's getting a bit older now.
Yeah.
But you know what I feel like with Ray Warren, like he's commentating nowadays. I feel like the people around him, not everyone, but some people around him have kind of like take it, like they take the piss out of it when he goes hard.
When he goes hard.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah. Not the ex-players at all, but sometimes like the bantering that they hurt his flow a little bit, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like you can tell when Rabs is in the middle of some like call of it, like when he's calling of a moment and someone sort of talks over him and you're like,
Let him
you
go.
fuck the soundbite. You
Yeah.
fuck the soundbite forever. Like,
So sometimes I feel like they hurt his flow.
yeah.
Whereas I feel like back in the day when he was like, you know, the
Just
big dog.
killing it, yeah.
And
And he is an
control-
older man now.
Yeah,
He is the fucking GOAT. And like,
Absolute goat.
what I think he brings now, as much as obviously he's still an elite commentator,
The nostalgia of it.
but just having his voice there.
Yeah, you got to have his
And no
voice there.
disrespect to any of the other callers, but no one's Rabs. I don't think they would ever. No one would
No,
argue
he's a
that,
goat.
right?
He's absolute undisputed goat. No one comes close. in
No
my
one
opinion.
comes close. And his call of Albert's try in the 99 and the 7 grand final is actually my favourite piece of commentary he's ever done. Where
Really?
it's like, it was just so pure, and he just, the way, all he finishes with is just Newcastle have won the grand final, and then he's just like silence, and the crowd goes fucking psycho.
Yeah.
And then he comes back in with something else, and you're just like, that is perfect. I
Yeah.
hated it, but it was like,
That's
that
perfect.
was, he was
Yeah.
so good.
His grand final call, Thurston etched his name in history. Maybe immortality.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's got the field goal. He's got the premiership, and maybe even rugby league immortality. It's like, holy
what
shit.
a call!
So
What a
good.
call!
So good.
Like even like to say and maybe even, you know, like he's still respecting
the fact that
he might not be
Exactly.
and he's not just going, yeah, he's an immortal.
no.
He's got the field goal. He's got the premiership and maybe even immortality. Like what
Yeah.
the fuck? That's such a good call.
So good.
Yeah. Okay. So who you going in this game? I mean, you look at this, like Sharks.
If you're talking about one that could go any way.
Yeah, definitely could go either way. Look, I think that Sharks, the key to them is getting Johnson back.
Yes. How much? That's an
He's a while
exploded
away.
Achilles.
Yeah,
eh?
yeah, he's a while away, but he was the key to their attack last year. Like he had one of his best years of his career last year, other than early Warriors. So, look, could go either way. It looks roughly the same.
It's pretty straight. It's pretty like
Pretty
even
even
though the
match.
Dragons had that horrendous charity shield, the Sharks, they're up and down as well. Last year,
Yeah,
they
absolutely.
could absolutely turn it on though.
Yeah,
so
true.
I mean, I'm still going to go the Sharks again because I just like the Dragons with like a really deep seated sort of passion that comes from within me. But
Yeah, okay.
also because I think that the Sharks will win.
Okay, so mainly because the Sharks can win, but you hate them.
But I also hate the Dragons.
Okay. Well, it's good to know that.
Yeah,
It's good to
well,
know.
listen, I mean, if you listen to the podcast before, you might get that idea.
I'm going. Oh, this is such a tough one. I'll go Sharkies.
Yeah.
I'll go
There you
Sharkies. We are Dunsky.
There
So
you go.
you can go to Hello Sports on Instagram,
Yep.
the Facebook group,
Facebook groups, the punters and dribblers.
punters and dribblers. Go listen to their podcast, guys. It's footy content and other sports as well, but it's comedic, you know.
Yeah, look, despite everything that I've just said here, we acknowledge the fact that, like, you know, we don't know what the fuck we're talking about, like any former athlete does or anything like that. So we're never really coming at it from an X's and O's analysis point. We're talking about the things that are a bit more ridiculous and funny, or just the things that we find interesting.
Yep.
But yeah, look, a heavy emphasis on taking the piss.
Well, people that are listening or watching, I listen to it every single week. It's a fucking fantastic podcast. You will not be disappointed. Go and subscribe. And as usual, I will go and fuck myself. Thank you.